Hi, this is Rabbi Asher Meza of Torah Judaism International, here to explain to you the difference between Midrashim and Halakha. This is very important, and this is never spoken about. We have many rabbis online making Judaism look ultimately ridiculous because they fail to make a distinction between Midrashim and what we must believe, which is that Midrashim are optional to believe, and in many times are even disposable. The Rambam even brings it down like this, that if anyone believes that every midrash is true and binding, he's a fool. But if he believes that every midrash should be tossed out, he's also a fool, because they're there to teach us certain lessons. So in the vast majority of cases, midrashim help, but there are many times that they hurt. However, they're still optional to believe or to be taken seriously. Now, anything in Mishnaic or rabbinic literature that is not of a legal nature is considered midrash, i.e. agarata. In other words, folklore and legend. And only what's prescriptive, not descriptive, what's prescriptive, halakha, is what we're bound to within rabbinic Judaism. Because anything metaphysical, again, has to come from the Torah itself. Halakha and law start from the Torah. They're illustrated in Mishnaic literature, the Talmud, Chazal. And that's really all a Jew is bound to keep and believe in. Now, Midrashim is any story, anything, including Kabbalistic notions that appear outside of the 5 books of Moses. Anything that tries to fill in gray area in the Torah, anything that tells you a story, metaphysical or not, from the life and times of our rabbis. All this is called midrash. Now, what's the difference between midrash and agarata? Well, the real term is agarata or agadah. Agarata is Aramaic, agadah is Hebrew. It only began to be called Midrashim when Midrash Rabbah, the Midrashim of Rabbah, came out, and people adopted the word Midrash over Agarata. Because we have it in what's called Midrashei Halakha. Midrash literally means from the Drash, from the Torah. So Midrashei Halakha is halachot extracted from the Torah text. To be accurate, in Mishnaic times, it was known as Agarata, and later on it was known as Midrashim, but it's ultimately just folklore and legend. Things that one is not supposed to take too seriously, and for sure, things that are ultimately optional to believe. Now, there's another misconception out there that all the Midrashim were also given in Har Sinai. This is one tactic that people use to justify later ideas and get those ideas canonized and considered authoritative when they are not. Look, Midrashim are just the opinions of our rabbis, not the legal opinions, just stories and things that are just descriptive within rabbinic literature. But the power of Chazal, of our judges, was within the vote. They can't vote metaphysical things into existence or things that are not prescriptive. Of course not, because if that was the case, they would vote that the Messiah should come tomorrow or that every anti-Semite should drown in the sea. It's clear that what was given on Har Sinai was just the 5 books of Moses. However, the Torah itself sanctioned the role of the court to create consensus, to create laws to help us keep the initial law or to illustrate certain mitzvot in a unified manner. However, those laws are still called rabbinic. So, Midrashim, all these tales, even stories, the metaphysical stories that appear in Kabbalistic literature, are just stories. That's it, made up by people like you and I. Don't take them too seriously. And one work that really reiterates everything I'm saying nowadays is Avram ben Arambam's introduction to Agadah, which typically is found in most Ein Yaakovs. He says the same thing, that Midrashim are optional to believe, especially when they contradict the narrative in Torah. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, we have the Ramchal. So the Ramchal takes a different approach, and I think he has really fueled the way most rabbis teach regarding Agarata. He's really the one who got the average rabbi to elevate these Midrashim to such a high level that nowadays the average Jew makes no distinction between Midrash and Halakha, and worse, make the gross claim that even Midrashim were given alongside the Torah on Mount Sinai. So, long story short, Midrashim are anything within Mishnaic or even rabbinic literature that are prescriptive, dealing with stories, dealing with legend. These things should not be taken too seriously, and many times they can help, and many times they can also hurt. This is something we have to acknowledge, and what people shouldn't do is go out on a ledge trying to justify every midrash as reverently as they justify a pasuk in Torah. Again, making no distinction between the two. I've personally known many people who've left the Jewish religion because of that. because they weren't ready to elevate Midrashim on the level of Torah. And yes, there are many Midrashim, and anyone who makes the claim that there is some sort of harmony among Midrashim doesn't know rabbinic literature, because they are all over the place, and in the vast majority of cases, they contradict themselves. Friends, for more information about everything Jewish, please visit TorahJudaism.com. Thank you.